Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the story about the Redbird special. I need you to please understand something here. I have embellished this story mainly for two reasons. First of all, I have the information available to me. Most of the stories that I'll be offering on this channel will be very limited because I won't have access to pictures and such, plus the time to develop the story. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is, well, it's my channel, so I can do what I want. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this trip through time. So here we go. Well, it all started in a town in Illinois. I was born and raised in Alton, Illinois. Alton is located about 25 miles northeast of St. Louis, right on the Mississippi River. It was a blue-collar manufacturing town of about 43,000 population. My parents moved to Alton in 1940 from Kentucky to take advantage of the manufacturing jobs and to join relatives that had relocated to Alton in earlier years. Alton was a great town to grow up in. It had its history, being on the river and near St. Louis. Here's a couple examples. Alton was the site of the seventh and final debate of 1858 for the Senate between Senator Stephen Douglas and the then Springfield, Illinois, lawyer Abraham Lincoln. Also, a second example, Alton was the home of Robert Wadlow, tallest man in the world at 8 foot 11 plus a fraction. It's still a record. He was born and raised in Alton, died in 1940 at the young age of 22. Well, we're now going to jump on to the post-World War II era and the 50s. The town was bustling, and so was the car industry at the time. Every year the cars were different. Identifying the year and make of cars was always a fun thing to do. Dad purchased this new 1956 Chevy 210 sedan 6-cylinder automatic transmission in 1956. This car was his first new car, and the color combination was exactly as this one pictured. I was in the 6th grade at the time. I remember he was so proud of his new purchase that on the day he got the car, he drove to my school during our lunch recess and took me from the playground for a ride in his new car. My parents were from the World War II generation, so buying a new car was a big event for many post-World War II families, and experiencing that joy made a lasting impression on me, and I think formed the basis for my love for these cars. Well, here's my first love, car that is. A car like the one pictured was the first car I fell in love with. I was in the 8th grade, this was 1958, and a boy in our local high school drove a car similar to the one pictured. It was a 1949 or 1950 Chevy Coupe, shiny black, lowered in the rear, shaved, dual exhaust, glass pack mufflers, stick shift, white walls, and pretty chrome hubcaps. I thought it was the coolest ever, and I wanted one as cool when I got my driver's license. I could just picture myself cruising around in this beauty with my girlfriend sitting next to me. Oh man, I couldn't wait. Well, the day finally came. Got my driver's license in January 1961. and Dad bought me this 1948 Chevy Fleetmaster Coupe in the summer of '61. The car had 42,000 miles on it. The jack was still wrapped in the original paper, and the mohair seats were perfect once I removed the seat covers. Not being a mechanic, I was still able to do some tweaking to the car. Bullnosed the hood, had the car painted a darker blue, installed porta-walls to get white walls, installed a Y-pipe to look like dual exhaust. All the parts, of course, came from J.C. Whitney. Of course, finally, I had to add a glass pack muffler. Well, it wasn't like my first love car, but I thought it was a cool car. It never failed to start and took me anywhere I wanted to go. I drove it until graduation in 1963. You might note, please, the Redbird decal in the rear window. Well, a quick look at my old high school from back in the day, Alton Senior High School. Enrollment was about 2,100, and as you can see, a very large campus. A new high school has since been built, but it just doesn't have the history of the old one. The original school mascot is the Redbird. Well, as I mentioned in my channel trailer, I want to include stories about special places that are part of one's car story. Well, in my story, Riverview Park in Alton is special to me. I dated my wife-to-be, Olivia, in my first car and must say spent a few late evening hours with her at this park. A couple years after the original 48 Chevy, 1965, I proposed to Olivia at this park, and she said yes. To this day, this spot still exists and remains special to me. This is not a very good picture, but it will serve the purpose. I went on to have some pretty cool cars over the years. Upper right was a 1961 Chevy Impala convertible I had before we got married. In the upper left is a 1957 Chevy Bel Air we had when we got married in 1965. Lower left was a 1964 GTO we had in 1967 and 68. And lower right was a 1988 Lincoln LSC, which I have to admit was a midlife crisis. Still, though, a great car. The thing was that I always thought that if I ever bought one of my cars from my past, it would have to be the 48 Chevy, my first car. The car and what it meant to me was just too strong. I couldn't come to accept purchasing any other car from my past other than the 48 Chevy. As I headed toward retirement, I actually started researching and looking for my first car, the 48 Chevy. I started some 10 years before my retirement in 2006. I went to numerous car shows, took hundreds of pictures, and talked to mechanics and put together a vision of what I wanted to find. Well, in 2007, I found my car at the Street Rod Nationals in Louisville, Kentucky. It wasn't exactly what I had, but very close and in many ways better, so I bought it. As you can see, it looked a bit different than it does now. One of my first things on my list was to give it a name. I saw from the various car shows that owners liked to give their car a name. I had a long list of possibilities, but I thought, well, the car is red, and bingo, the phrase Redbird Special popped out from my past. Here I have pictured the popular drive-in restaurant from back in my day where Redbird Special originated. As you know, our high school mascot was the Redbird. This drive-in, Logan's, created a menu selection directed toward high school students called the Redbird Special. You got a hamburger, fries, and a Coke for 40 cents. Now you have to remember the price is from the early 60s. We would, on many school days, drive out to Logan's for a Redbird Special at lunch or after cruising in the evenings. At car shows now, I post the above narrative to help explain the Redbird Special theme.
Well, I thought since this is the last show, maybe I would feature the Redbird Special here. So, for those of you that are not familiar with the Redbird Special, the name Redbird comes from my high school mascot being a Redbird. And back then, a popular local drive-in restaurant had a menu selection called the Redbird Special that all the kids loved to get. Hamburger, fries, and drink for 40 cents. So I named it Redbird Special. That's a GMC 292 6-cylinder Holley 4-barrel split manifold. It's got power steering, air conditioning, turbo 400 transmission, automatic transmission. And we got the white walls on it. Those hubcaps are 53 Oldsmobile. They're not original, they're replicas. But 53 Oldsmobile Fiestas. We got lake pipes on her. They're not real, but I wanted them to look real, and they do. And we got the whole car lowered about 2.5 inches, 3 inches. The interior, we got like I said, a turbo 400 automatic transmission, low car, floor shift. All gauges are autometer, electronic gauges. The one on the right here is where a clock was originally in the car. That's a tack right now. 77 Oldsmobile steering column, and that's an aftermarket steering wheel. Interiors, front seats are out of a Cadillac Eldorado. They're power seats. Got power windows. Of course, the interior material is all from, I believe, a late model car of some type. I'm not sure which one it is, what it is now, but it's not original. And skirts, replicas, but the fleet line, of course, the whole car has been shaved and customized. The fleet line had these original strips down the side. And we got in the rear, we got the trunk with display, dual exhaust. You can see the tips coming out. The model was given to me, and the turntable was given to me, so I'm making use of both of those items. Get a lot of attention, a lot of compliments on those. So, and of course, carried through the Redbird theme. Coming up this side, you see door handles are all shaved. Have to reach inside to open the door. Got Angry Bird there in the center. So that's about it. Like I said, this is our last show for the season, so just thought I would give you a little rundown on the Redbird Special.
Here's my current love. The Redbird Special of today may not be exactly like my first car love, but in many ways it is, and in many ways better. I really enjoy driving and showing my car. Most of all, though, I have met some really great people. Car people are really down-to-earth people, and I'm really proud to have as many friends as I have. Thanks for listening to my story. and I'll see you during next car season.